What if I told you that there was an alternate universe, one that exists next to ours, but that is vastly or slightly different? One where fate has rewrote the script. One where history has changed forever. What if I told you Eric Bischoff at WCW was at top of the wrestling world and WWE went bankrupt? You are about to enter the what if zone. What is going on, guys? How are you all doing? So, we are here to talk about the what if. What if WCW beat WWE in the Monday Night Wars? What if they won the ratings war? Well, let's get into that. So, let's start with the reality first before we start about the alternate reality. So, in reality, Eric Bischoff was winning against WWE in the ratings war, in the Monday Night War for 83 weeks. He had a hold on WWE. He was beating them. Vince McMahon said, look, we need a change. We need to do something new. We need to compete with WCW. So what he did? The Attitude Era. Raw is war. You know what I'm saying? Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vince McMahon, The Rock, Mankind. You had a vampire character like Gangrel. You had all kind of fun shit in the Attitude Era with WWE. You had DX taking a tank down the street saying we're bringing war to WCW. You had all that fun shit happening. But let's talk about what if it never happened, right? What if it never happened? What if WCW beat WWE? So let's create the timeline here. It's 1995, right? You know, WCW's head in the ratings. WWE refuses to change. They refuse to have an Attitude Era. They refuse to do anything about it. Keep going the same direction they're already going. What happens? Well, I think by 1997, the company would have went under. Some stars might have came over before 1997. Some might have came over after WWE lost and went bankrupt, then sold WWE to WCW. This would make Eric Bischoff the winner of the Monday Night War and make him the face and the king of wrestling, as his company would be the top company. So, what may have happened if WCW was a top company? Well, I think you could have got a lot of interesting storylines. You know, we could have got storylines like Bret Hart and Hollywood Hulk Hogan going at it for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. We could have got that. That would have been crazy to see. We could have got many other things. Could have got Yokozuna versus Goldberg. You know, the storyline possibilities are absolutely endless here. There could have been a lot of different things. We could have got, I don't know, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall going up against an old WWE tag team from 1995. You know, there's a lot of things that could have happened here. And that's what makes this so interesting. You know what I mean? And there'd be no WWE pay-per-views that we know today and that we've seen today. None of those would exist. None of those legendary matches would exist. None of those matches between the Austin and Rock would exist. None of those matches would exist. None. Mankind and Undertaker, that wouldn't have existed. Kane and the Undertaker storyline, that would have never existed. Kane would have still been a dentist. Isaac Yankem. You know what I mean? So a lot of great things that we have would have never existed. But I think a lot of alternate things would have took their place, you know? So, yeah. That is where I'm going to end this episode, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Thank you all for watching. Peace. Join us on our next episode of What If Zone, where we talk about a rose that does get to blossom.